have, uh, their state of mind is one which they have lost their cognitive abilities to understand whether they're oriented as to space or time. They don't really know where they're at. And it's kind of interesting because when we talk about a person, and as an attorney, when I was younger, I was appointed by the court to go and look at people to see if they had an ability of oriented towards space and time. And as I began to think about it, and then I started thinking, as a practitioner, some people maybe they don't have Alzheimer's, but they really aren't oriented as to space and time in their daily practice. But those people, they don't lose their true nature. It's just simply like in the Sharingama Sutra, where they talk about, does a blind person see? And they say, of course, the blind person can see, what they see is like dark. But the thing is that they haven't lost it. They only have lost that sense organ ability to see things. Here, when somebody has lost that ability, they've lost that idea of the last skandha, of form, sensation, volition, and consciousness. They've lost the consciousness. They nevertheless still possess Buddha mind, but in this particular lifetime, they've lost the ability to communicate with others, until the next lifetime. So the loss of consciousness doesn't mean that they've lost the Buddha mind. It's just that they're not able to communicate with people in the samsaric world. So it's different. But when we say they lost their mind, no, it's not really that they lost their mind. It is that they lost the consciousness, part of the five skandha. But it's the same as if somebody said, oh, we lost their ability to see, or one of the other sense organs, then it doesn't mean that they've lost the mind itself. It's just that it's no longer functioning in this world. Okay.
Yeah, there was one night, I think I didn't really sleep. But there was one matter that just appeared, and I was just
Sounds like a good question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just resting my mind. I was in my thought. I was like, okay, next day I have to go to work. So, but I wasn't sleeping. What should I just watch what it appears. And this is a matter that I have not really done, but because I didn't know what to do, so it just play as if I was just watching a show, like a movie. Didn't know what it will appear. And I think it's the whole night I didn't sleep. So the next day I observed, I didn't feel tired at all. In the afternoon, it's still life as usual. At night, I slept around the same time. I didn't have to go to bed early. So I was just amazed at the mind is very creative. It just play on its own, like one after another. I was just resting my mind and just so-called like watching it. So I am just wondering if that is a state of that absolute mind, because I wasn't sure what will happen next, but I'm just creative at the so-called like the solution to this matter that, it sort of give me an idea of what to do next, because it just sort of like play in my mind.
During that time period, were you practicing a little more, or right before you went to sleep?
No, I wasn't practicing before I went to sleep. Yeah, I was just, I planned to just go and sleep, but instead I didn't sleep. but just lie there.
Okay.
With my mind, it's pretty wide awake. Yeah. The next day, I didn't feel tired at all. Yeah.
The there's times when the mind, excuse me, the mind will teach you at nighttime. It's very rare, but it can, because the mind is very quiet and not attaching, it can show you something special. It's just mind teaching mind. It's very, you don't go to sleep with the expectation that the mind will reveal it something, but sometimes the mind will reveal, excuse me, I have a little bit of tickle in my throat, will reveal something special. But because normally in your daily life, you will not have an ability to do that, because you're resting, the mind will reveal something to you. Again, it's very, very rare for it to happen, but it can happen. You never ask for it to happen, but it will happen. So it is something that's good. Recently, about 80% of the articles that I write are revealed to me at nighttime. And in the morning, I immediately wake up and start writing. And I can't even go to the restroom. I have to just put my feet on the floor and sit on the bed and write. And I sometimes it takes me an hour, 2 hours to write the article that came through the night. So it's capable, the mind is capable of presenting things in this way. It's very unusual. I've even had times where I've taught in sequential days, like going to a class. And when I fall asleep, I start where I left off the night before. And other times it's very puzzling things that resolve itself during the night. So it's possible that that can happen. You know, most people won't have as detailed of experiences as me, but I never go to sleep with the idea that I'm going to go to class or to have anything. I never have that idea. I just go to sleep. But I practice very, very sincerely before I fall asleep and do a lot of transferring merit. And as a result of that, when I sleep, my mind is already very, very calm. And so this is something that it is mind teaching mind. And so there's nothing extraordinary about it. You know, if one tries to think of it in this way, then they'll mess everything up. But if there's something there, then you have to understand this was not a regular night's rest. There's something to it. But you have to decipher it, figure it out, what it means, and then it can be useful during your waking hours. But when somebody is a good practitioner, they're aware, even when they're asleep, they're aware of what is occurring. And so it's different. So it's a good experience as long as you don't hold on to it. If you hold on to it, you mess everything up. But the more you practice, the more that will come to you.
So that is not the absolute mind, right? Not the state of the absolute mind, right?
There's no state in the absolute mind. This is very important, and it's important for you to ask that question. The mind does not have a state. Mind is mind. And a lot of times the sutras and treatises, especially treatises of masters or whatever, they'll talk about states of mind. But in reality, in absolute reality, there is no such states of mind. They are just simply the way the mind is. And the reason I'm very cautious about that is because when you try to hold on to a state of mind, then you begin looking for it or judging it on saying that you're at this level. For instance, probably the worst thing that somebody could do is try to figure out what bhumi they're on. You know, there's 9 bhumis, and you say, oh, I'm at the 8th bhumi, or I'm at the 2nd bhumi, or whatever levels. And I don't practice in that way, nor want people to practice in that way, because in the practice of the mind itself, one can jump from the 1st bhumi to the 8th bhumi in a snap of fingers. And you jump that way simply, you know, because of causes and conditions. So it's, but then again, one doesn't sit there waiting for something to happen to you. Well, when is it going to come? You know, maybe it'll come before 5 o'clock or whatever, you know. It's not in that way. So don't think of it as some kind of an experience. The most important thing, and then they talk about it in the Shurangama Sutra in the 8th volume, is different states. They call them demonic states. They're not really demonic, you know, you're going to see the devil or something like that. It just means that if one clings to them, then they mess up their practice. But along the way, there's various states in mind, quote unquote states in mind, or experiences that people will experience. And for instance, being able to know something that's going to happen in the future, or hear discussions from a distance, or knowing people's what they're thinking, all these kinds of things, people may run into them. As long as they put that down, then they're okay. But if they hold on to it, then they mess everything up. And so actually, this spring I did a whole class on the demonic states in a retreat, and kind of a very different kind of a retreat topic, but it was very helpful. So as long as you don't hold on to it, it's okay.
Okay.
If you hold on to it, then you mess it up.
Okay, understand. Thank
Okay.
you. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Hi, this quick question is what's the relationship between Qigong and Buddhism? Are they connected?
Well, I have to preface it by saying that I practiced Qigong for many years at a very high level, to the extent that one great Qigong master made me his successor. But I didn't accept it because something was still missing. And even though I practiced, the Qigong I practiced was called 𝐿𝑢𝑠ℎ Qigong, which is the Bodhisattva, Dharma protector, 𝐿𝑢𝑠ℎ. So there can be a connection with Buddhism and Qigong. There's other types of Qigongs that don't practice in that way. They practice outer path types practices. The difference is I was looking for the purpose of studying Qigong. And when I heard my master, my Buddhist master, Master Sheng Yen, speak, and he spoke to an audience that was a very general audience, but instantly I knew that what he was talking about was what I was missing, what I was looking for. And up to that point, I knew I was looking for something, but I didn't know what it was. And the difference was this incredible deep wisdom that when one chases experiences and chases the ability to do, you know, very what other people would think is very super mundane activities, which in the higher levels of Qigong are pretty amazing. That it's still something was lacking, which was wisdom, this very great, profound wisdom that's so simple that even in a general audience, it couldn't be hidden. That this wisdom of what this world is and what the mind is and what the heart is more important. I think that was the part that got me the most, was what heart is. The Shin was that, I don't know if you understand my Chinese, but it's HSIN, Shin. You know, some people understand my Chinese. So the heart mind, that was the difference. In the Qigong, it wasn't that way. Although my master in the Qigong instructed the students, and I was the only Western student he had, to find me a book on Buddhism. And they went, "What book?" And they go, "Any book, just find them a book on Buddhism." So they gave me the book, Diamond Sutra. And the Diamond Sutra is like a Rubik's Cube, the puzzle that you spin this way and spin that way to try to solve the puzzle. It doesn't give up its wisdom very easily. But the first time that I picked up the book and I went, okay, Diamond Sutra, and I opened it up, and as soon as I opened it up, I felt very buoyant, like light, like a helium balloon just on a tether. And I felt like I was rising. And then when I closed the book, I just came back down. And I went, this is different. No, how could that be? You open the book and I feel like I'm going up, close the book and it goes down. And it was something very interesting, but I knew there was something there for me. It was like the sutra was calling me. And so I began to read it, and it took me many, many times to read it to begin to even scratch the surface of its importance. But it was then that I knew what I was searching for all my life, which was this wisdom as to how everything works. And it was the fitting of all the puzzle pieces together that made the difference. The Qigong is more concerned with samsara and manipulating samsara. So it can be used for healing. If you want to heal a person, you can heal the person, depending on your level and the karma that the people have, or if they're vexed by a spirit, then you have to know how to get rid of the spirit. If it's a physical problem, it's easier. And if it's karma, you can heal them, but it will come back. So you have to know these things with it, but it's all about samsara and your manipulation of it, even to the point, if you want to control a person, you can control a person with your mind. So it isn't necessarily a pure practice, but it can be if it's Buddhist oriented. But the practice of Buddhism in its pure state is immaculate. It's pure. It is something that it's not giving riches to a person. It's showing them the way out of samsara, which is so far more valuable. And to heal a person, you can heal a person, but they're still in samsara. But to heal a person from ignorance, greed, or hatred, this is incredibly precious. That's the difference, is the only way I can say it. And I had certain experiences along the way that I understood that I was not to be a doctor. And I used to give a lot of treatments to people. It became for a while very, very popular with that, but it wasn't where it wasn't what I was looking for. And so that's the difference, is that one of them can help people, not bad, you know, you can help people with illnesses and whatever. And the other one is goes to liberation, which is so much more valuable. Okay. Any other question? That was a kind of a strange one.
Hi, Master Gilbert. What if experience itself is the absolute reality, not the mind? And why do we need to say like experience arises from the mind, or is it projected within the mind? And could this be unnecessary conceptual layers to what's immediately here?
Okay, I picked up part of what you said, but your accents are a little difficult for me to understand. I'm sorry. You were talking about projection of the mind?
Well, maybe I'm just wondering, why is it just mind? What about just experience?
Just mind, or the thusness of mind is mind. Experience is a projection on mind. It is consciousness. The consciousness is also mind, but it is what the one master 𝐹𝑒𝑒𝑒𝑒𝑚 said was enables the mind to contemplate. So the consciousness of the senses and from the mind itself enables the mind to contemplate, but the experiences are temporary, they're impermanent, they're phenomena. They are not the absolute mind. And so it's the difference that your question is a very good question, because it's leading you to what does this really mean? What is he really talking about? It's not easy to understand what I'm talking about. So my position is to have patience to explain this. So when we talk about it and we have an experience, the experience occurs within mind. That experience may be joy or it may be suffering, but we know that those two will not last. And so we understand that. We become mindful that, as the liturgy says, that we're like fish in little water, you know. And so we understand the preciousness of each breath that we take. So these experiences, we don't seek the experiences, we seek the wisdom. And we seek that when I talk to people, I don't talk to them in the samsaric present moment, in this present moment. I'm talking to you in your next lifetime and the lifetime after that, and the lifetime after that, that you will remember this. I have patience to do that, so that you will take this throughout all the lifetimes after this. One time you will wake up in your life and you go, wow. And each time you get a little closer. So I always tell the people, you have never been as close to it as this moment. This very moment, you've been the closest you've been to it. You have to remember. Sometimes I tell people, and they go, you look so familiar. I said, remember. Remember. I'm telling you to remember the affinity that I make with the people. So with everyone, I try to make a very positive affinity in this way. It is that they will remember, that they have experienced. But the experience itself is not important. What's important is the affinity. I'm like bringing you to the affinity with this profound Buddha Dharma. And so that each lifetime you will remember to practice, each time a little bit deeper, each time a little earlier in your life, that you will come to it. Some of us come to it after careers. You know, we may have a separate career, and then all of a sudden it comes to us. Next lifetime, we hope we can come to it earlier. But it is in this way. Those experiences are valuable because they link from this lifetime to the next. So when we have an experience, we should not cling to it as an individual experience, but as a part of remembering the Buddha Dharma that we've been taught. Who knows how many years, I mean, lifetimes, you've been learning the Buddha Dharma, but never before have you been this close to it. So when you understand this, then you resolve to practice harder to do this. The experiences, and if, let's say, somebody has an experience of a realization, this is good. It's good, but we have to put it down, because afterwards, then we think that we have gotten somewhere. But it's not in this way. We just understand the more we put down, the more the mind becomes clearer and clearer. It's not in the experience, but is in the revelation of mind itself in the present moment. That is, when one practices, the mind will automatically reveal. It isn't as if it's teaching you so much as showing you in mind what mind is. And it is this that you have to understand. So it's not necessarily the experience, but it is the revelation of mind itself that reveals part of it. It may not reveal everything. It's not like it throws off the tarp and you become instantly enlightened. Even if you have a realization, sometimes realizations are very shallow. In the beginning, they can be very shallow, or they can be profound. I've had very fleeting realizations, and I've had realizations that have lasted for months, literally months. And but the one thing that I did was never cling to any experience. And so if you practice in this way, you understand, be patient. Mind will, just like with the lady over here that was having things revealed to her at nighttime, it will come in its due time in accordance with causes and conditions. So, but we don't cling to those, and we don't see those as mind. We see those as apparent reality that's leading towards that. But you can utilize apparent reality to through the perfection of the practice to gain more and more realization. And I hate to say gain, because there's no one to gain these realizations. It is just simply how the mind works. But I speak in a conventional way because it's difficult to speak in just mind. But these experiences, remember, they belong to the apparent reality, so we let them go. That is not what we're searching for. We're not searching for enlightenment. We're searching for liberation. But once one begins to obtain some form of liberation, enlightenment is the last thing that one has a priority with. The priority is presenting to others the way out, to understand that there is a way out. And that's from the Four Noble Truths, that suffering exists, you know, what's the cause? There's a practice and there's a way out. And so when we see that, we understand it. The difference there in the first level of understanding the Four Noble Truths to the more esoteric level of understanding the Noble Truths is there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. Because all of that belongs to the samsaric side. So as you begin to understand that, the more you come closer to that, the more the mind will reveal more to you. Naturally. It naturally happens in this way. You don't have to say, when is it going to come? You know, like you're waiting for some, package to arrive at your door. It comes in its due time. And you have to have faith in that. And so then when you have the faith, if you have experiences, so be it. But then you let them go. You don't hold on to them. And then it works better. Because we understand still these experiences are occurring in the phenomenal side of mind. But the absolute will begin to reveal itself in that way. That's just why it was so impactful when Manjushri says, I am the inconceivable. I am mine, without the I being a separate ego. This is mine. It's very, very powerful. And if you can use that, then you begin to drive a wedge between what you think is reality and what is absolute reality. And through that wedge, the true nature will come out. It will begin to shine, like as if there was an egg and it was surrounded by light, and cracking it, and then a ray of light will come inside the egg and begin to illuminate it. And you on the inside of the egg, you begin to crack the egg, having faith there. You cannot know what's outside the egg. You cannot know what's outside of samsaric world. Mind knows, but you cannot know. So we don't hold to the experiences. So I'm teaching you in a way that's very, very esoteric, very deep. So some of it you get now, some of it you'll get later. Okay.
Thanks, Master Gilbert, for your explanation. Perhaps I would have asked my question in a clearer way. If let's say I were to give an analogy on what you say, it seems to me that the sky and the weathers, so the skies is like the absolute reality, it is infinite.
Say the first part of that.
The first part, you mean the analogy?
No, you said sky or sky?
The sky and the weather, like
Sky.
SKY.
SKY, yes.
Yeah.
Sky.
And weather like sunshine, rainy day, thunderstorm, and all those things. I wasn't having the idea of clean. We tend to categorize. Oh, hello. Yeah.
You're good. You're good. I'm following you.
Yeah, the mic is okay. So
Sorry.
I should. Yeah, I hold. Okay, where was I? Okay, so because the mind is dualistic, I'm not talking about clinging to the experience. In general, we tend to, or rather the mind tend to categorize, judge, make comparison, and we tend to have conceptual overlay on what we experience. And that brings about suffering. Though I know that earlier on you mentioned that you're not talking about the realm of samsara. And I suppose we are here today, while we also understand that things takes time. It depends on the causes and conditions. So this will come. And if I'm not wrong, Chan Buddhism emphasizes on direct pointing, direct transmission. So could you give us like direct pointing? And then at the same time, I also thought that the mind kind of drift off with so many reference, sutta, treatise.
The direct pointing. Master Han Shan said, It is like taking a sword and piercing the sky. That's your direct pointing. Could you even imagine if I took a sword and went to, I'm going to show you something really, really cool. So we all go outside, right? And I take a sword and I slash a hole in the sky. What's that? What could you see? Wait, that's the sky. You just slit a hole in the sky. How can that be? This is the direct pointing. Whatever else is just another cup of slop to give you. But you ask, you want to know. One master said, swallow all the waters of the Ganges River, and then I will tell you. It's easy to swallow all the waters of the Ganges River. Bring it on. I have a very big belly. You want to know, when you slash the sky, what's there?
Still sky.
So what Master Dao Xin said, now we're getting into the inconceivable portion of the program. I'm answering you as sincerely as I possibly can. Slash the sky. What is beyond that? It's infinite. The you will never know, but mine knows intimately, intrinsically. This is where you search, in the middle between apparent reality and absolute reality. It is this way. I am giving you the most precious of Dharma right now.
Thank you so much.
Don't forget what I told you. Don't forget it. It doesn't matter if you're confused. It's okay. It's natural to be confused.
I kind of understand what you say intellectually. It's just that it doesn't have the experiential understanding. Like the mind, we say the mind would know. It's just that, if I'm not wrong, it's like covered up with delusion, right? The mind knows. Then the thing is about, I suppose, like letting go. Though not actually like throwing away, discarding, but letting go more of like letting it be, allowing it to be just that it is.
Every once in a while, I check up on 𝐿𝐴𝐴. Do you know who he is? How do you say his name in Chinese? 𝐿𝐴𝐴.
Sheng Kong.
The Monkey King.
Oh, Sheng Wen Kong. Okay, Sheng.
He's still trying to find the edge of mind. No matter how far he goes out, he still can't find it. It's this way. So it matters not how far he goes out. He'll never find the edge of reality. When we understand that everything is the infinite, that it's inconceivable because there's nothing that can hold it. This is mind. This is mine. And I don't mind talking to you in this very strange way, because we're talking in the language of the Buddha. This is mine. This is where you place your mind in the inconceivable. And little by little, when you go back to read the sutras are no longer strangers to you. They're intimate. You will understand them. Whatever sutra you open up, whatever Nikaya that you read, you'll understand it. Because it's written in the language of the Buddha, not in samsara. you can read it as what they call a shravaka, a sound hearer. Not bad, better than somebody that's totally ignorant, or a pratika Buddha, which is a Buddha that has realizations but never studied. Or you can read it like a Buddha or a Bodhisattva, and the meaning is much deeper. It is in what we call the esoteric, not the esoteric school, but the esoteric meaning the secret meaning. Does anybody know the term in Chinese for esoteric? Say it louder.
密意 or 密意
So it is in the esoteric that we put our practice. And we feel comfortable there. We don't feel nervous about that because we don't know. It's okay not to know. It's just the understanding of that the Tao is not something to be known. It's something to be demonstrated. So we demonstrate moment to moment. We understand. We demonstrate patience, generosity, wisdom, practice. All of the six Paramitas are demonstrated. We don't copy them. We don't say, oh, I need to be more generous, or I need to be more patient. We reflect it from our own mind. This is the difference, that we're not building this perfect person like a Confucianism, where in Confucianism, we try to do that. And the Taoists, they want to become immortal. Immortal what? It's just mine. It's never been born, so how can it ever die? It is just in this way. I actually welcome this kind of talk because this is more precious for you to really be able to go up and try to take a peek in the sky. What's out there? I ripped the sky to see what's there. It's inconceivable to you, but it's just mine. This is where we started with your question. Just mine, the thusness of mine is just this way. So you got a lot. Take this to the next lifetime too. Okay? Remember that.
Right. Thank you so much,
You're
Master Gilbert.
welcome. Okay. There are questions over? Any more questions? No? Okay. So you'll have more time to ask questions. I welcome questions because this material is very, very profound and difficult. And to some of you, it's the first time you've heard it. So it's okay. And it's natural that you should have questions. I even tell my senior students, I can measure your level. If you have no further questions because you're afraid of asking a question, then I know your level. But you should have questions, many, many questions that come up. So I don't mind that. I don't mind taking people through this kind of a training. There's no beginning and there's no end to this Buddha Dharma. It is what matters in this moment, what is intimate to us at this point, and begin to give you certain words for you to understand what mind is. There was a Western monk by the name of Red Pine. I don't know if any of you know. How many of you know Red Pine's work? Few of you. Okay. And he was commenting on the Heart Sutra, and he said that it isn't the distance between us, but the lack of distance between us. This is the most intimate. So between your mind and my mind, there's no difference, no distance. So we can speak, we can get close to each other. It's okay, you know, except in New York. People in New York, they can't get close to each other, especially on the subway. Like, you come closer and I'll cut you. Sorry about the people in New York, but anyway, but there's an intimacy to us. And it's this intimacy that I'm presenting the Dharma to you. You remember, come on, you remember, you get it. So it is in this way that there's no distance between us, because it's all Buddha mind, it's all connected. It's all like Indra's net, where everything is connected in this way, and everything has a contact with other things because it's connected in this way. You will see that. Okay, now let's see. I'm at the fourth line of what I was teaching, so we're making progress. So on the first page, I've got to here. And this is very interesting, because let's go back to the Pabhasara Sutta, luminous, and it says luminous. So what is luminous? Luminous means like light, right? And then the Tibetans, they talk about it as a rigpa, clear light. So there's no shading to that light. We have lights here. Some of them are like bright lights, and some are different, shine a different one. But clear light is very, very clear. And it says monks is the mind, and it is defiled by incoming defilements. So interesting, because it's saying it is defiled by incoming defilements. And exactly where are these defilements coming from? Do they come from a defilement factory that's outside of mind? They're just mind. But if we hold to this as it is, then it can create a defilement in mind. Whether it's incoming defilements, it is something that the mind originally is fine. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to take you even deeper now. You go, no, no. We're going to take you way back. Luminous is the mind. Just bright, shiny, perfect. Nothing wrong. Infinite. But it's like, if you remember back when you were a teenager and you had this perfect skin, some of you have to run to back, way back. Others, it's not too far. And you look in the mirror. What's that? Where did that come from? And you discover, oh no, my first pimple. In all this luminosity, we don't know how. Nobody can say that. Not even the Buddha knows when the first movement of the mind happened. And so of the nidanas, the 12 nidanas, what is the first nidana? Nobody knows. There's 12, the laws of dependent origination. I'm sorry? Ignorance, okay. So somebody saved you guys. Somewhere, ignorance happened. And all of this luminosity of the mind, there was ignorance that came into being. The very first thing that the Buddha taught, even before the Noble Truths, was the 12 causal links. The first one being ignorance. All of a sudden, there was an ignorance there that wasn't there, like a pimple on a virgin face. And it came. And what did you want to do with it? You tried to pop it. And there came the suffering, right? Ow. It's worse looking now. But because you're ignorant, you don't understand any of that. So you continue on until you get to the very end of life and death. We don't understand. That's why the Buddha was going, listen, I'm going to tell you how you guys came here. I don't know when, but I'm going to tell you how you came into being through ignorance. The ignorance is not other than mine. But from that ignorance came the apparent reality. The absolute reality has always been there. This ignorance pops up. We don't know where it comes from. I can't tell you that. But there's ignorance that comes up. It's not really real. It's an illusion because the mind itself is perfect, but for some reason, it was traveling through the cosmos and it got hit with a speck of ignorance on the windshield. And you're trying to scratch it off. You can't scratch it off. It is in this way that the mind is perfect, but this is there because for some reason, this went to sleep. And as a result of it, it kept going until it became a person. And it kept going until it became an ex-person. Dead. We don't understand that, but we know that all of this here, most places I go to, I only have 2 colors at work, so I'm using all of them, is all a dream. It's just a dream. It's not real. But when we pinch that pimple, we think it's real, right? And then what do you think? How am I going to go to the dance or to school with a big pimple on my face? So suffering comes up. But it's an illusion. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path because this is an illusion. But because we give it more and more energy, more mind attention, it creates the illusion that there is something there. But it's not there. It's not real. If you understand this, then your practice will be very great. It's very simple to practice with this kind of an understanding. But if we practice and say, my problem, my suffering, I'm getting old, my back problem, my knee problem, whatever problems you have, then there's no end to the suffering or appearing to be no end. But all of these defilements or so-called defilements are just a product of mind itself. It doesn't come from outside of mind. When we understand it, then we know if it comes from within mind, what do? You wake up. You wake up, and when you wake up, it's not like, yippee, hooray, you know, I'm packing my bags to nirvana. And what do? You wake up, what do you do to the rest of the people? Goodbye, suckers. I'm heading to nirvana. When one truly awakens, if there's a true awakening, not an intellectual awakening or some pseudo awakening, the first thing one does is says, I need to share this with others. This is too precious. People don't need to suffer. This place is not as good as we think it is. You wonder why the aliens haven't landed here, right? You know, it's like going to some crummy country to I'm not going to say any country, but some crummy country to vacation in. And you go, this is crummy. The food stinks, the weather stinks, the people stink, you know, why would I want to stay here? Not only that, but they kill each other. And they eat each other. And they kill each other and eat each other, all in the name of a god or gods. I don't want to discriminate about things. People go say, oh, he was against the Baptists or the Presbyterians or the Hindu or whatever. But think about it, the aliens wouldn't want to visit. They'd go like, this is really crummy. Of course they're not going to come here. But we hold on to it so dearly. Whenever I come to Asia, I'm always looking for the passion fruit. And I find it so ironic for me to looking for passion fruit to eat because I cling to that. I never crave durian or stinky tofu. I had always said that if I ever ate stinky tofu, I'll become enlightened. But that was wrong. The last trip I came here, on the pizza that I had, I thought, this is something funny. What the heck is that? Oh, that's stinky tofu. How can you put stinky tofu on a pizza? Well, it was funny because I didn't know it was stinky tofu. I didn't suffer from it. But I didn't get enlightened either. But when we see things as they are. We can see clearly. And we understand this world. If we have too much joy, if I have too much passion fruit, I'll develop too much of a passion for the passion fruit. So everything in accord. This is what the Buddha taught from the very, very beginning. It's neither a total abstinence of things, right? When he was an ascetic, you know, they go, you want some passion fruit? Oh, no. No passion fruit for me. I'm sorry. You know, would you like some dirt? Dirt? Yeah, dirt's good. He was eating dirts and roots and whatever. He was wasting away because he didn't understand. Shakyamuni, he didn't understand that until finally when he sat under the Bodhi tree, he understood it's the middle way. The middle way has always been there. The Madhyamaka school has always been there from the very beginning. It wasn't called the Madhyamaka school then. It was just the Buddhist teachings. And it said everything in its due balance. We need to take care of this body. In our Chan liturgy, we say that we reflect on where this food came from. Am I worthy of receiving this offering? It will prevent this body from withering away. It didn't say that, that you have the food and I now accept these French fries for the purpose of accomplishing the Buddha path. No, you accept food, wholesome food, to do that, but you don't have to have a craving for particular things. I always use donuts as a vexation so that people, I don't talk about people gambling, womanizing, manizing, I guess, or whatever kinds of vexations they have, drugs or alcohol or whatever. I use donuts, which had been traditionally one of my cravings, and so also a vexation. But I can indulge in a donut every once in a while in the middle way. But if I have them every day, then it becomes a vexation. So we understand the middle way in everything that we do. We don't have to do that. If you're a monastic and follow Vinaya, it's a lot more difficult because it's more stringent on a monastic, and it's why I always give deep respect to monastics, because following Vinaya is not easy. The Vinaya is the rules that monastics follow. So to me, anybody who doesn't matter, even if they're a novice, I give them great respect for at least trying and being at that point. But we follow a middle way. We don't have to not engage with people, but we understand, this middle way, that we can't have free love. From the 1960s in California, there was a little bit different understanding of free love. But we can love people freely. We care for them. It's a different kind of love. It's a caring, an incredible compassion that we have towards each other. It's different. It's not coming from the physical side. It's coming from the understanding that we're all intimately connected. And when we see things in this way, it changes things. But go just a little bit more. I want to get at least 5 lines down. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Diamond Sutra. Let's see. And there's parts of the Diamond Sutra that are very important. One of the things about the Diamond Sutra is quite interesting historically. It has been established as the first printed book ever. So there's been, in the old days, they used to in order to copy a sutra, they'd have to hand copy the whole sutra, which is quite a bit of work. But the Diamond Sutra was cut from wood block prints, and then they would put the ink in, and they did it. And that was the first recorded mass-produced books. And so that happened in the 9th century. My sutra is not coming up. It's teaching me. Look, you see, it's not real. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Well, in any case, it teaches certain things. One of the things that it teaches is that when we mentioned earlier that the Buddha cannot be known by the 32 marks because that's an appearance body. So we know that that is the Nirmanakaya, an appearance body. But it also says something that is a common refrain within it, which is there is no ego, personality, life, or being. So it's constantly saying there is no personality, an ego, life, or being. This is an illusion. And this part is very, very important because when we understand that, we don't always have to, Gilbert doesn't have to always stand up for himself and protect himself because something happened. And there's liberation in that, and understanding, okay, this body is moving around, it's traversing in the samsaric realm, but there isn't a Gilbert that's operating it. It's mine under the guise of Gilbert. And it's very interesting in this way. I'm going to take you to a very definitive source to distinguish between mind and illusion. Consider Superman. Superman is naturally a superhuman being. He doesn't have to acquire abilities. In fact, he hides his abilities, right? Under the guise of Clark Kent, a reporter for the Daily Planet. And he hides himself amongst people. But you are all Supermen and women. Now let's consider Batman. Batman's not a superhero. He plays like he's a superhero. He has all the belt. He copies Superman with his little trunks and skin-tight pants and a mask. But he has a utility belt with all sorts of gadgets on it. Superman doesn't need any gadgets. But Batman, if he wants to climb somewhere, he has to shoot up a line to pull himself up. He's not really a superhero. He's disguised like a superhero, but I was always wondering if you shot him, you know, where he doesn't have because he always had this part here, you punch him in the head, you'll knock him out. If you punch Superman, you'll break your hand. I know this sounds strange, but hang in there with me. Because you are super, but you don't realize your secret identity as a Buddha mind. So you come around this place and you're just like a common person, never ever realizing your true identity. There is a sutra called the Uttara Tantra Sutra that also has another name, which is the Ratna Gotra Vibhaga Sutra. And Ratna means absolute and Gotra means clan. It's the absolute clan. You are all part of the absolute clan. You don't realize that. You don't realize that this very mind that you're using is the Buddha mind, able to create everything. You are not Clark Kent. It's as if going back to what she said, that the Superman had Alzheimer's and he forgot his identity. Then he would just be Clark Kent all the time. And somehow you're in a dream state that you think that you are this person, rather than realizing that this very mind that you're using is the Buddha mind. It's different. When you understand that, you don't go around, you know, and say, you know, when you go home, what did Gilbert teach you? I'm the Buddha. Well, can you do Buddha-like things? I don't have my utility belt. It isn't in this way. You understand this. There's a liberation in that, a freedom from suffering. Not bad, right? But it isn't that when you understand this liberation that you leave this world. You have an interest in relieving the suffering of other people. This is an important thing. Tomorrow, this is like a preview of tomorrow, we'll talk about the Heart Sutra and how powerful the Heart Sutra is. So if any of you want to overachieve, read the Heart Sutra tonight, okay? And then you'll be very surprised tomorrow what it really means, the Heart Sutra. It is not as you think it is. It's much more profound. So in any case, we understand that just this mind is the Buddha mind. You already have it, but you're underachievers. The other part of the Diamond Sutra that has always been very profound to me is that the very closing of the sutra itself, that say, no, well, how should we explain this sutra to other people? And it says that all that we should think of this fleeting world is a bubble in a stream, a flash of lightning in the summer cloud, a dewdrop on a leaf, a morning star, an illusion, a phantasm, a dream. This is how we should see this world. When we understand it in this way, we're not so quick, because if we try to hold on to this life, it's like, again, grabbing a handful of sand at the beach. If you ever did that when you were a little kid, and it quickly falls through your fingers. It is in this way. We don't understand that part of the practice. But when you do understand that part of the practice, you see that it is just the way it is. So we see things in its thusness. When we see things in its thusness, then we understand what to do. Okay, you guys are getting restless, so I'll let you take a break for a while. And then come back, think of your questions. I'll answer questions first. How many of you are, when you meditate, watching or counting the breath? Raise your hand. Most of you. And then how about using a huatou? Raise your hand. Okay. And then sun illumination? Nobody using sun illumination. Reciting the Buddha's name? Okay, so some of you are reciting the Buddha's name too. So, all right. Any other methods that you're using that I didn't mention? Please raise your hand. Nobody? I'm sorry? Look, looking at loving kindness. And how do you use that method? Okay. Actually, that's not a bad method to use. This kind of a method of metta, this loving kindness, it is the prerequisite to what's called karuna. And karuna is the interest in the suffering of others. And so it isn't necessarily a bad way. One has to, in any practice that we do, let me write it down so that way you'll understand. Now, this applies to any method that you're using right now. And if you have questions specifically about any method, you can ask me. But in any method that you use, the first thing you have to do is to be relaxed. And here, you relax the body and relax the mind. So when you approach the cushion, you should also already begin to relax the body. The mind is relaxed, but the body is also relaxed. And as it begins to sit down on the cushion, you maintain a quietness there. Here we don't use the towels, but you can use a towel, especially in the wintertime, to cover your knees. It will save your knees as you get older in terms of that. But you sit in a very relaxed state, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But when you're sitting, you're relaxed, your body's relaxed, everything is there. The mind is also relaxed. Remember that when you're sitting to meditate, the difference is that in this kind of meditation, you already have the Buddha mind. It is the Buddha mind that is sitting and relaxing. So as it's sitting, it's just the Buddha mind. It's yours to lose. You already have it. It is the Buddha sitting in meditation. And so how do you lose it? As soon as you begin to think of something other than sitting on the cushion, you've lost it. If you've lost it, it's just like a video game. You lose, reset the game and start again. Now you start again with a mind, and you're just simply sitting with it mind. Then it's relaxed. Okay, then from there, then you pick up your method. When you pick up your method, then you, the first thing is that I should back up a little bit. There is an awareness. This is the awareness of mind. So when we have an awareness, you are aware that you're in this room. You're aware that you're sitting. And so in your mind, let's say, this stands for your consciousness and what's in the consciousness. And you're aware that you're sitting meditating. Now, the worst thing that can happen is you lose your awareness and you just fall asleep. Okay. Then you're not aware of anything. All right. The second way is that all of a sudden you feel pain in your legs. Then the only thing you're aware of is the pain in your legs or pain in your back or in your neck, wherever you want to concentrate your pain. But this, a little bit by little, will be overcome. The third obstruction to the practice is you're no longer sitting in this room, because here you're sitting and there may be somebody in front of you and somebody behind you. So you're aware that you're in the room. That's okay. But let's say now you are thinking about a money problem, then all of a sudden it comes in, money problem. All right. And then little by little, the awareness of the room disappears. And taking center stage in mind is a money problem. Now you've lost total awareness of the room and you're only thinking about this problem. It may be a different one, depending on your life and lifestyle. And it may be an affair of the heart, hopefully not an affair, but an affair, or it could be an affair, and then you have to figure out how you're going to pay for it. Or you may end up paying for it with a bat hitting you. But then that takes center stage. Now, where's your method? It's gone, you know. It's metta love, 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 love. Whatever. It's no longer metta in the way that you should think about it. So you've lost control. You are no longer aware. So awareness has to be there. You cannot leave this room. That's the rules of meditation. You cannot leave this room or have something come into the room that doesn't belong here. So if something comes into this room, a shiny new red sports car, a Porsche 911. I think that will cost you about $500,000 with all the taxes and everything else that comes in. But you have that in your mind. It doesn't belong in this room, right? It belongs in a showroom. But this is not a showroom. This is your place to practice, right? So why are you thinking about that? Erase, right? And then something else comes up in your mind. Your mother-in-law. Hopefully you don't have a mother-in-law like that. But then you have that. Oh, you know, you have to go to see mother-in-law this time, you know. You come back to the method. So the method is present. You have to keep coming back and coming back and coming back. The most important thing that you need to know is you're going to be taken. You have to know that from the very beginning, that you're going to be taken. You're going to be off your method. It's okay. It's natural because you're churning up all these habitual tendencies that are going to be present. But the only thing is that it's like driving a car. When you drive a car, you're very attentive not to go past the line this way or go past the line that way. To me, when I'm here in Singapore, I'm very attentive because you guys always drive on the wrong side of the road. So I'm very attentive. I could even become enlightened. But you stay there. This awareness has to be continuous. It doesn't matter what methods you're using, but these elements have to be there. So when you're there, what's important is that the method has to be there, continuously looking at the method. So these are connected. Continuously, the method is there. The mind is aware that it is sitting in meditation. if it's not awareness, then it's just sleep. You have to stay with awareness. The body is relaxed, the mind is relaxed. So that takes care of all of that. It has to be continuous. And that the mind is in contemplation. What is contemplation? This is a very important word in terms of this, in terms of how we do it. What is contemplation? Contemplation is that the mind is looking at the method. It's investigating the method. It's holding it there. Contemplation comes when there's no thinking. You should not be engaged in thinking. They say one thought for 10,000 years. The thought is the method. For 10,000 years, you stay on the method. If only you could do that. But you try and you try. You have to keep coming. That's why they call you a practitioner, because you have to practice. You have to remember that you're in this way. The byproduct of it, but also the part that helps you with all this is this. Sublime. When you sit, don't add pressure to yourself. I got to do this, I got to do this. You can't do it that way. You just resting in the present moment is sublime. Imagine when you have a vacation, what indicates that you're on a vacation? You have nothing to do. You're not at work. So why would you bring work, another one, into the present moment? A lot of you like to bring work in. You're not getting paid overtime. Why would you think of work? You come back to the method. You understand how things come into the consciousness. There's different reasons why they come. If you understand how mind works, then you understand how to overcome this. The first thing is that it's something that recently happened. So it's recent, just happened. The other thing is that it's repetitive. Something that happens all the time. What happens all the time? Work. So there's no mystery as to why work will come up in your mind. The other thing will be that it has a strong emotional bond. Strong emotion. It might be going back here, a love interest. That comes to you, or it can be breaking up, even worse. It could be an accident that happened to you or happened to somebody else. So it will come up. We understand if it's repetitive, it's going to show up. There's certain value that we give to these repetitive things, something that's recent, that just happened. It may be something that you were learning from the lecture that now comes into mind, or a strong emotion. These things will all come up in your mind, and you have to understand why they're appearing. They're appearing there naturally because that's how mind works. So this is important. So when you're sitting to meditate, you understand what's happening. You understand it's not by accident that you're thinking of work or thinking of your mother-in-law, or thinking of a brand new car or whatever it is, it could be something as mundane as going to the supermarket or something some project you're working on. It doesn't matter. All of these things are going to come up and they have a certain value. If you got into an accident right before you came here, I guarantee you, you have like 100% chance you're going to be experiencing that accident when you're sitting to meditate. If you had an argument with somebody, that's going to be a very strong emotion too. It's going to come up. You know that. The repetitive is just something that will naturally keep coming up. And if it's something that's recent, that's there. A strong emotion can be something that's lingering, such as a family issue or something, or spousal issue, or whatever that comes up. These things that we understand how mind works, but we also understand that if we direct the mind, okay, to the method will be there. So we have to have a memory that we're sitting on the cushion, and we direct the mind towards our method. And just keep directing the mind towards the method. You're going to come off the method. It's natural. It's okay, because that's the way mind works. But if you practice in the right way, it will work. Like right now, to be honest, how long can you sit before you come off the method? What do you think? A half an hour? You should be so lucky. 5 minutes? 1 minute before you're off the method? So you have to look at the things and see them in the way they are. We don't understand that. But here's the thing, what we talked about before, that's very, very important. And that's Pratika Samuppada. Pratika Samuppada is a Sanskrit word meaning causes and conditions never fail. It also can be pronounced Patisha Samuppada, but this is in Sanskrit. And so in the Sanskrit, Pratika Samuppada means cause and condition never fail. So suppose you meditate, and when you meditate, within 5 minutes, you're off the method. And then you spend another 25 minutes watching movies. Okay? My master used to say, did you watch a double bill? Did you watch 2 movies? Meaning that you gave up so early. Causes and conditions never fail. Now, based on this, suppose the next time you sit to meditate, how long will it take before you get off your method? 5 minutes. Causes and conditions never fail. because you have not raised your mind intent enough to direct the mind to stay longer. After 5 minutes, all right. And what are you listening to? Your mother-in-law. Because that's what you put into your mind, whatever it is. To meditate, you have to know how to meditate. If you don't know how to meditate, you don't know how mind works, get off the cushion until you learn how, because it's not going to change. You came here to learn about Dharma and meditation. I'm teaching you. I'm telling you the way it works. It's not going to be like all of a sudden you go, oh, wow, I didn't have a thought for 30 minutes. That's not going to happen because you didn't put the effort into doing it. If you put the effort into doing it, it will work. So you have to put the effort in. If you put the effort in, there will be result. So what is the result? If you plant a garden full of weeds, that's all you get. If you plant a garden full of fruit seeds, you will get fruit. It will be in this way. The sutras talk about the maturation of the practice. Maturation means that you now become mature in your practice. You understand what you're doing. You're not playing at it. You're not playing like the ABCs and going to kindergarten, A, B, C, D, F, G, whatever. You are now mature and you can stand by yourself. I can't help you when you're on the cushion. You have to do that yourself. You have to stay on the method. That's all I ever heard from my master say, stay on the method. The method will protect you. Stay on the method, stay on it. You have to stay on it when all of a sudden the car shows up, the love interest, the money, whatever. You wipe it out and you go back to the method. You don't get mad at yourself. You don't do anything. You just simply return to the method. You go back into the method. How does this work then? Again, relax, awareness, continuous method, contemplation, no thinking. You're not on the cushion to think. Once one person was doing a shikantaza method, which is looking at, at your body and occupying a space in a room. And the student said, Shifu, it was so incredible. I was looking inside my body and I could see I have a problem with my liver and I have a problem here. I could see it so clearly. And Shifu said, that's very interesting, but that's not the method. If you're sick, go to the doctor. Otherwise, just sit. No thinking. No thinking. You just sit in this way. Why do I bring these things up? Because they work. If you do them right, they work. I promise you. If you did this and you went to a Chan Chi, a 7-day retreat, if you did this continuously for 7 days, you will see your true nature. But continuous means continuous. That means off the cushion as well. You hold your method. I have to be careful about this because one master, I think Master Han Chan said, if I'm wrong about this, may my tongue be cut out every day in a Viki hell. And I say the same thing to you. If you do this, but it has to be continuous. If you start thinking about your mother-in-law on the second day, all bets are off. I saved my tongue. But the thing is that if you apply this, it will produce results. But you have to elevate your practice to do that. You have to remain awake. If you can remain awake, it will work. It's very, very simple in terms of how we practice this. When you sit, And I thank you guys for fresh pens because it makes a big difference. Sometimes I'm going like this and I'm writing, it's like dying out. The method is here. The mind is looking at the method. The method is a projection on mind. This is the knowing aspect of mind. This is mind looking into mind. This is the Dharmakaya. What they call Ru Jing. This is the knowing aspect of mind. The Ru Zi. This part knows this. They're not two separate things. It's mind looking into mind. You are not in the equation. You would be like right here. If you're in the equation, you're on this side. A projection looking at a projection. And then it obstructs the mind. The mind can't see anything because you're in the way. If this is turned around the other way, it would see you and all your problems, and then the mind couldn't be seen, the method couldn't be seen because you're covering it. If you get rid of the ego, no thinking, there's no thinking, then the method is seen clearly. You don't think. So this is why the mind is obstructed. But if we let go of this, it's just the knowing aspect of mind seeing the mind ground. This is apparent reality, the method, that's appearing in mind. If you really can understand this, you'll understand what's going on when you're sitting in there. It's just mind looking into mind. It uses the method just to hold something there in the present moment to compare. So if the money problem wants to come in, it stays on the method and this dissipates quickly because you're not giving it any mind attention. All the awareness is on the method. If the car comes in, then it peters out. The next time it comes, it's a smaller car or a smaller issue about money. But if you look at it, then all of a sudden, the method will go away and the money will take center stage in the consciousness. What you do is reset. Just reset. Don't say, oh, I can't believe I got stuck with that or whatever. Just reset without thinking and go back to the method. So this is clearly seeing the method in this way. So you have to be aware of what is arising in mind. The masters say that the crime is not in something arising. The crime is not knowing soon enough that something has arisen. You will become more adept at seeing all of these thoughts coming in to the periphery of the consciousness. They're all hanging around like no do-gooders, like you look out the window and say, my mother-in-law's out there, but there's a car there too. And then there's work, better I stay here and watch the method. So you're aware of them lurking around, but you don't give them any mind attention. If you return to the method, then they cannot attack center stage of the consciousness. All you want in that center stage is your method, whatever method that you're doing, whether it's reciting the Buddha's name or a huatou or whatever, you keep that there. You don't have to go, darn, I'm doing so good. I haven't had a thought for so long now. You don't do that. You just simply hold the method, hold it, hold it, hold it. You hold the method like this, so lightly, just enough. If it needs more because, you have a difficult mother-in-law. I shouldn't say mother-in-law because people are going to say, what's wrong with my mother-in-law? Nothing's wrong with her. You like her, it's okay. I'm sure you love her. Okay. I'm trying to use something, but sometimes I come up with the wrong one. But in any case, whatever, could be your father-in-law. Okay. All right. But in any case, you just simply are resting the mind this way. It is like two mirrors facing each other. Imagine two mirrors facing each other. The only thing you have here is the method. But apart from that, theoretically, those two mirrors facing each other will produce an infinite image. Infinite image of what? It's inconceivable. Nevertheless, those two mirrors facing each other will produce an infinite, right? If it's the method, it'll just show the method consecutively appearing. So it would just show the method continuously. That's not bad because the method is a poison, but it's a poison fighting a poison. It's a phenomenal. You're holding on to something phenomenal, but only for the sake that phenomenal replaces every other thought. So as it is appearing, it no longer has a continuous thought to it. It's a non-sticking thought. It's just repetitive in the mind, just to remind you of what you're doing. If you understand meditation in this way, your meditation is going to be very, very productive. If you don't understand it, then you're wasting your time on the cushion. You're hoping that something's going to happen just simply because by virtue that you crossed your legs. And so you might as well put a meter on your legs, how many hours equal enlightenment. It's not going to work that way. But in a moment of doing it in the correct way, it's there. The only thing is you just have to extend that out longer and longer and longer. And as you are on the method in this way, it will work. And you will be sitting in mind. I shouldn't say you will be sitting. Mind is sitting in mind. There's no you there. That's what causes the problem, is when you put the you there, it's like putting a virus on your computer. And you go, where did that come from? When you're trying to type something out and it says, let's take a rest. Don't you want to play a game? What? It's not working. You're the virus. Sitting in meditation, is the antiviral program. So why don't you run the program? But instead, after 5 minutes, you want to go back to, let's watch a movie. Okay. Boom, you're lost again. You've got to stay with the method. If you do this, I guarantee you, if we had 7 days of a retreat, I have very good results from people coming to my retreats because I just every day, oh, not again. He's going to try to stay with the method. Yes, stay with the method. Stay with it. Just imagine 2 mirrors facing each other. Pretty good. There's nothing to see, right? It's like the police at an accident. Move along, move along. There's nothing to see here. No, I want to see. No, you're the virus. You don't need to be there. So when we say, and we understand how mind works, it will work. Doesn't matter what you call yourself, whether you're a Mahayana, Theravada, whatever, this is universal. It's going to work because you know how mind works. This is what's important. Okay. Any questions about what I've talked about on this part? About the method? 2 here. Okay. Hold on. To give her the microphone. Is it? How do you say it? Okay. So it's the knowing aspect of mind. The 2 of them then are represented this way. Ru. Ru is the Tathagata. So it is this, what you could call storehouse consciousness or the Buddha, the embryo, but not like something that's coming into being is what produces things that come into being and also houses what has already come into being and what will come into being. So it is in this way. You're simply sitting in mind. Okay. So that's, and then he had a question. Yep. The microphone.
Hi, Master Gilbert. So just curious, like how do you contemplate without thinking?
By not thinking.
What's the difference?
Huh?
What's the difference?
You don't think. Mind does not need to think. Even if it thinks, what we talk about thinking is this way. This is a Sanskrit word. Kusala and akusala. Kusala is the mind that is not sticking. It doesn't stick to anything. Akusala is a mind that sticks. So if I told you, contemplate a donut, you go, what kind? Strawberry or lemons filled, or some Krispy Kreme donut or whatever. That's sticky thoughts. And if you hold on to the donut, you'll understand it's very sticky. But the thing is, it sticks in your mind, you want another donut. Kusala thinking, there's no sticking to it. It just simply is, this is what we call the term Wu-Nian. You heard that thought before. Have you heard this term? How do you say it in Chinese? Wu-Nian. So you guys know Wu-Nian, no thought. So Wu-Nian, no thought, doesn't mean that thoughts don't come up in mind. it is that the thoughts do not stay. They do not stick in the mind. So when you're practicing, you're in Wu Yin, and so it is. I need a bigger board next time because I don't want to erase some of the stuff that's on here. But let's say my master used to use this. It made it very easy to understand. Imagine we have a big lily pad. Okay. And there is a frog, a big frog on the lily pad. Close enough. So the frog is there and it's sitting on the consciousness. It's so big that the lily pad, which is the thought, is no longer seen. It becomes irrelevant as to a thought, even though it's a thought, the thought being the method, that it no longer has the value of a thought because it's just stuck there. So that this bullfrog has no intention in jumping to another lily pad. Even if there's a lily pad over here or over here, it doesn't want to jump. It just simply is sitting on that thought. What is the thought? The thought of the method. So it doesn't think any further. It's just that thought is being held by the mind there. It doesn't stick there and says, oh, I want to go to this lily pad, or I want to do this, or you're doing very good. You know, it doesn't have those thoughts. You have to elevate your practice to that level, to just simply rest in the present moment. So resting in the present moment, it's content. It doesn't need to jump to another thought. So it is a kusala thought. It just doesn't stick. Here it's kind of almost like the opposite. It sticks there by virtue of us doing this, but it doesn't have a value of a thought that wants to have a subsequent thought. So the ancient master said, you need to sever the mind that desires continuation. You need to cut off the mind that desires continuation. Desires continuation. Here, there's no desire. The bullfrog is content. Doesn't have to do anything. If there's a lady frog, it doesn't need to jump over there. It doesn't need to jump to get an insect or anything. It's just simply resting on the lily pad. This is how we do this. So there's, in fact, no thought. So it's by not thinking. This Wu Yin doesn't mean that thoughts don't come up in your everyday life. They do, but they don't stick in the mind. As I'm talking to you, since the very beginning I've been talking, I've been in a state of Wu Yin, meaning no thinking. So the thoughts don't stick. They just keep moving on. Whatever needs to arise, it rises in accordance with function. But it doesn't arise where Gilbert is talking to you. Gilbert is over in the corner. No, we don't wake him up, okay? Because he'll talk about how great he is. Okay, so we leave him alone. So he's this body is being used in a proper way. No thinking. It's just this way. It's different. Now we're speaking in in Buddha language, and we see the things in this way. So all today I've been teaching you the Buddha language, how to learn. And so when you learn this is very helpful, but little by little, repeating it, it becomes something that makes it work. Okay, any other questions? Yes. No, there's one minute. Okay, go ahead. What happened? Oh. We'll pick you up. That's all right. Go ahead. She's there.
It's an extension of gentleman's questions. Master, you mentioned about the union. Sometimes I feel that I could sense the thought coming up, but at the same time, there are also emotions that actually prompt the next thought or prompt some action in response to that thought. So I've not yet reached the stage where you mentioned union, that it doesn't stick, but I can feel the emotion which is rising, that is leading to more thoughts, more mental proliferation, and more further actions. So what do you suggest? How to direct back to reach the state of union?
You don't give those emotions any attention. You simply return gently to the method. It is when you are seeing that, you're closer to quieting the mind. Now, something that you mentioned is very, very important. That's that, let's say, around the thinking, you have all these undesirables. Your mother-in-law, and where have you been? And you have money, work, you have all these things that are concrete images of things. But you also have lingering there that's more insidious, more difficult, is emotion. Emotions that are there. Some people habitually have certain emotions of anger, or impatience. When is this going to work? Just forget it. Let's watch a movie. This is not going to work. You're quit now. There's these emotions there, lack of patience, different things that they're looking for trouble. They haven't found it yet, but they're emotional impressions that are looking for something to get angry. You ever seen a person that is angry all the time? They're just looking for something to be angry about. That's all I needed. I can't believe it. You guys are always bugging me. Everything. We just said hi. It doesn't matter. Why are you saying hi to me? They're looking for something to attach to. It can be this, it could be impatience, it could be whatever emotions. It is because now you are not producing the images anymore, but the emotions are still there. So you have to be very quiet because you're getting close. You're getting close to holding the method, but now everything's stripped off other than just these raw emotions, looking for something to attach to. So it's trying to attach to something. It doesn't know what it's going to attach to, but it's hungry. It's hungry to bring up something in the mind to attach to, whether it's like, it could be the opposite. Oh, isn't this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful? Look how wonderful you are when you're using the method right. It's so wonderful. No, get away. You're getting creepy. Go away. Leave it alone. Or the ones that get angry, all these different ones, they're looking for some object to attach to. If you're at that state, that's a good state. That means that all you have left is just this raw emotions that are arising. If you leave them alone, then the mind will be very stable. They're appearing because now they don't have anything that's attaching to it. When we have anger, it could be that I don't think any of you here in this wonderful country get things, but you may have, I think, like somebody told me that your country is very fine. Fine. obviously you're going to get angry, right? So if this anger is there, it's looking through. Oh, you got a ticket for throwing a wrapper on the ground. 10 years. $50,000 fine. So you're going to get angry. Of course, this anger is going to attach to this. Okay. I don't think it's that much, right? Like maybe 30,000. But you're going to be angry. So it's easy to attach to that. And then this is going to come here and ruin this nice resting frog. But if all you see is anger, the anger is looking for something to attach to. It could be the fine. It could be your mother-in-law. It could be anything. It could be work. It's looking for something to attach to. When we understand that, we leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. You know, have you ever had people where you just leave them alone because if you talk to them, they're going to be angry at you. They're not going to be happy. Oh my gosh. You know, no matter how much you try to do it, here is a donut. I don't want a donut. Why, are you thinking I'm fat? You leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't try to make it better. Don't gild it. Don't make it something else. Leave it alone. You just sit. What part of just sitting do you miss? Just sitting. It's just this way. You sit with your method. The method's there. Leave it alone. If other things come, you compare it. You're there sitting. The bullfrog is awake. It's aware, but it doesn't need to do anything. It's sublime. It's quiet, you know. And here comes money. No, you know, whatever it is, love, no, hate, no, you know. All of these things, they're like a smorgasbord or a buffet of offerings. What do you want? Do you want to be scared? Do you want to be anxious? Do you want to be jealous? That's a big one. And so all of these things are coming by. Take one. No. Method. You just return to the method. Return to the method. Return to the method. And it will work. If you go and you take a bite, you know, how about a nice juicy fly? Then it'll take it. Of course, to you, it wouldn't be good, but to a frog, it would be appetizing. But if the frog is just sitting there sublimely, it doesn't need, how many more flies could it eat that night? Then it'll just sit, just simply sit. It works. It really works if you do this. Okay, any last questions? Oh, that's right, I forgot you.
Thanks, Master Gilbert. Would like to ask, so just now we're talking about mind watching the method. Let's say it's watching the breath. If after a while the mind becomes very quiet, and after a while the breath also like kind of disappears, but no other distractions. So in that case, should we quickly bring back the breath, or should we prolong that state? Like more like mind just being itself.
What you should do the same thing always, which is just simply return to the method without thinking. Just naturally return to the method all the time, irregardless of whatever has happened. Just reset, like put a reset button. When you press the reset button, there's no emotion attached to it. It is just simply coming back to the method. And the more that you do this, the easier it becomes and the more natural it will. And the more you'll remember, just simply return to the method, return to the method. Don't pay any attention how long you've been off the method, you know, where you went, whatever happened. There is an interest by the ego that wants you to go and say, you know, oh, look at you made that mess, you know, look at that mess you made. No, I can't believe you dropped that glass and now, you know, all this food's on the floor. You don't do that. It's all illusion. Whatever it is, whatever emotions, whatever appearances, they're not real. That you just leave them alone. They're not happening in this moment. So you just gently return to the method all the time. Don't cling to anything. Don't grade it. Don't say this was a really bad one or whatever. Just always keep coming back to the method. Okay? And it will work. The method will protect you. Okay? Or okay, anything else? Oh, there's one in the back. Hold on.
Reading. Hello. Hi, Master. So when you're practicing, if there's qi arising, what should I do?
Return to the method.
Go back to the method.
Yeah, don't think about the qi. Wherever the qi goes, or wherever the mind goes, the qi will follow, and whether then everything else will be there, and you'll create an accumulation of qi in that area. So a lot of times people say, I have a pain, you know, in my chest with that. And then I say, drop the qi to the lower dandian. So don't think about that there. Whatever you think of, you know, you're creating it. So you uncreate it by simply returning to the method. And if you have an accumulation of qi, just let it naturally dissipate from your body. And you just return to the method. But the more that you start thinking about the qi, the more you'll create an obstruction, because you're like blowing yourself up. After a while, you can't even breathe anymore because you packed the qi in a certain area. But you don't need to think about that. Just let it go. Like, let it drop out. If you think about it, then you create a bigger problem. Okay? All right. Anything else? Okay.
Can I ask, under what circumstances actually is it possible to drop the method?
This is a good question. My master used to say, you never drop the method. And this is very important. You never drop the method. Never, never, never. But the method may drop you. That's different. The method may come to a point where it too becomes irrelevant. But don't say in that moment, here it comes. I'm so enlightened. Then you mess it up. Just remain still. Just remain still. When the stillness stops, pick up the method again. Okay? But don't let go. It will let you go. Okay? And then it may come back, or it may stay for 40 minutes. It could stay for a day. Or it could be just 10 seconds. It's gone. Oh, I'm back. You know, because you got too excited. Okay? But it's a good question. You never drop the method. The method can drop you, and that does happen. Where you try to go like, what? What was the method? What? You can't even bring up the idea of what your method was. It is literally you try, you have to keep trying and trying to bring it up. Don't just go, oh, it's gone. I guess it's there. I'm enlightened now. Don't do that. You have to force yourself to try to bring the method up. No. Who is reciting the Buddhist? Who? And you're trying to remember what the method is. You just stuck there trying to pull it up. And then I'm not going to say anything beyond that, but you just remain in that and with the mind in that awareness. Okay. All right. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and I'm going to have you guys, I'll go through some guided meditation with you. So we'll finish up with some meditation, but I want you to have fresh legs when we start. So take a break. The body is relaxed. The mind is relaxed. From the top of your head, just imagine a golden light slowly entering in like a golden nectar, pouring into the top of your head, relaxing the top of your head, relaxing your eyes and your eyebrows, letting go of all the tension in your eyes, in your jaw. The light pours in. The tongue is lightly touching the front roof of the mouth. The jaw relaxed, back of the neck relaxed as the light pours in. Your teeth are not clenched, just the mouth is lightly closed. And as you breathe the light into your upper shoulders, straightening the back. Down your arms, your biceps, your forearms, your fingers are all relaxed. Beautiful golden light pouring in. It pours into your upper chest, into your lungs, your heart, and into the upper back. All your muscles become very supple and relaxed. To your upper abdomen, your liver, spleen, gallbladder, stomach, all relaxed. Middle of your back is relaxed. Into your large and small intestines, to your kidneys, all this beautiful light just relaxing your body and through your reproductive organs, to your thighs, knee, calf muscles, ankle, feet, and toes, all relaxed. Your breath is natural and relaxed. You pick up your method, just as if a mirror is looking at a mirror with the method projected. Just mind, looking at mind. Do not have a sense of ego or consciousness. Maintain the awareness of the room. You're perfectly aware of this room. The method is lightly held. continuously. Mind is not busy with anything, just lightly holding the method. Mind looking into mind. Relaxed in the present moment. Not let thoughts creep in. The only thought in mind is the method, simply projected between the two mirrors. Mind looking at the method. Continuously contemplating the method. No thinking. Just holding the method. Holding the method in vast space. Infinite space. Relaxed. Continuously. Stay in the present moment. The Buddha is in the present moment. Just resting, no thinking. Just the mind gazing at the method. The method projected in infinite space. Just resting, not getting excited. Resting the mind in the present moment, lightly holding the method. Body and mind are relaxed. No thinking. Just gazing at the method. No thinking. A mirror watching a mirror. Do not leave the room. Stay in the present moment. Hold the method. Relax. Gaze at the method. Just like gazing at a wall. The wall is a mirror. A mirror watching a mirror. Hold the method lightly. Rest in the present moment. Relax. Stay awake. Stay with the method. Relax. A mirror watching a mirror. Do not let the mind stray. The key is to rest in this moment. Just rest. Gently bring yourself back to the method. Now is the time to really try hard. Don't lose the method. This is how you should feel all the time. Whether you're sitting or talking, cleaning, working, your mind should be at ease, resting in the present moment. Overall, you did very well. I'm very happy with the way that you sat. Very relaxed. Don't lose this feeling. It's different. There's a purity to it. An awareness. Wherever you go, you have this awareness. A clarity of the mind. Coming back to the mind is awakening. Very clear, aware, relaxed in everything we do. There is a mindfulness there. There's also a loving kindness there. A compassion. This is why we practice. We open our hearts to others. We're protective of the environment around us. We are not defined by the environment. We define the environment. We bring forth with mind intention, mind direction, the environment that we want others to reside in. With our own loving kindness and compassion, we set forth a fertile ground for us and for others to practice. We lead by example. We lead by demonstrating the mind, not the ego. It matters. Moment to moment, whatever we do matters. We can be the cause of disruption in the environment or the realization of liberation in the environment. Our practice is one to demonstrate in this way for the benefit of others. This is truly the practice, to share this with others. The calmness, clarity, a peace. We want to share it. We want others to awaken to this peace. We create a pure land in this environment. Just in this environment right now, there's a pure land. What more is needed? You take it with you to your family, to your friends, to your work, to strangers. And you touch them with this quietness. This is special. Now that you have it, use it when you need it. When you don't need to use it, don't use it. Just rest. In every endeavor that you do, whether it's driving from here, you're resting in the present moment. When you get home, you rest when you get home. You're resting from being in this practice. All the time, just resting the mind. No need to be agitated. Agitation is the mind's disease. We say dis-ease. When the mind is liberated, there's a sublimeness here. We will run into adversities. This is part of being in samsara. The difference is that we understand that everything changes. But yet we understand through pratikkasamuppada that causes and conditions never fail. Surely things come and go, live and die in the samsara. But this mind is not subject to samsaric influences. It is that which creates. And when we understand this, we understand what the pure nature is, what the pure purpose of being in this samsaric world is, for the benefit of others. This again is the practice. If you practice in this way, you're not far from it. You never have to worry about, am I going to become enlightened? Your concern should be, did this breath matter? Did I use this breath in a good way? My master used to say, we only have a finite amount of breath to take. We don't know how many we have, but we should be mindful about what we did with the last breath and what we will do with the next breath. Then we don't waste this preciousness of life. We follow the Buddhas and study, rejoice in the merits of others. In everything that we do, we vow to make our practice better than the moment before. We don't seek perfection of the self, but the awakening to our true nature. It is this that I most happily share with you. Are there any questions before we finish? Or any comments? No? Okay. This is natural too. Come back tomorrow. We will continue. Yes. Jessica.
Thank you. Hi, Master Gilbert. I'm curious to know if Master Sheng Yan's method of meditation? Is it method of no method? And how does your analytical approach of 如知 and 如净 differs from his method?
There's no difference. Actually, it works perfectly. The method of no method, silent illumination, is just this. It works very well. So as we were sitting, this was my method when we were sitting, is silent illumination. We just simply sit. In this way, we don't have the M, the method that we're seeing. We are just, I shouldn't say we, mind is simply just two mirrors facing each other. It's so quiet, so pure, so clear. If you practice in this way, you're practicing silent illumination. Okay, this is important. This is the method of no method. There's no method there. The elements that I mentioned are not the method, but they're the prerequisites for any practice of what we need to have in any practice that's there, of the relaxation of body and mind, of the awareness of the environment, of the method being no method, of contemplation. Contemplation meaning there's no thinking in contemplation. It is just the mind that is spontaneously aware, reacting to everything, aware of what is happening. But when one's just sitting, it doesn't have to do anything. It is, as in the Chan poem, have you heard of the man of the Tao that has nothing to do? So in this moment, we have nothing to do. And today, from the very beginning, I had nothing to do. From the moment that I opened my mouth to talk to you, I was busy doing nothing. Just this way. When we sit to meditate, it's the same. Busy doing nothing. We're just aware. This awareness is there. So this method of silent illumination works very well with this. And it clearly penetrates through. When we are this way, we abandon conception. It is what I may talk about tomorrow from the Dharma, Vibhangas, the non-conceptual wakefulness. Non-conceptual wakefulness is a very high level of practice. That's all I taught you today is high level. And you're able to understand it. Why should I withhold it from you? Very, very high level. So this Dharmata Vibhanga is the distinguishing phenomena from its intrinsic nature. So saying, distinguishing it, seeing the phenomena and seeing mind, its intrinsic nature, and understanding they're not separate. It's the absolute and the apparent realities are not two. They're not even one. It is where the one returns to. When we practice silent illumination, it is where the one returns to. The two mirrors are not different. They're not one. They are the very substance of mind. What is the substance of mind? Mind. What is the primary meaning of mind? Mind. Just this way. That's why they call it thusness. So if you practice in this way, when you sit, your sitting will be so purposeful, so mature. This is what we seek, is to mature our practice. We don't keep sitting and repeating the same mistakes. This will not get us anywhere. But we elevate our practice to a higher level. When we have this kind of an elevation of the practice, it will reflect everywhere. It will be demonstrated by us everywhere. There is a difference where one aspires to become enlightened and one is reflecting mind itself without any care of enlightenment. This is the highest level of practice. It matters not what you call yourself as a practitioner, so long as you understand this is the source of everything. Sitting in silent illumination, one comes to the source. Using a 𝐴𝑇𝑚, one comes to the source. Reciting the Buddha's name is the Buddha reciting the Buddha's name. It's already at the source. When we see things in this way, it's very clear. So your question's a good one.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Not. We'll see you back tomorrow. And if you have questions, just remember and write them down. We'll talk about them. I really am so happy to present to you for a second time now to bring you this special Dharma. Okay? Face the Buddha. Bow.